Our growth opportunities are significant. I absolutely see sales as being entrepreneurial. First and foremost, it's what the clients are trying to achieve and accomplish. And Jaggaer might just be the best possible solution. Just keep chopping wood.
Good morning, Andy. Welcome to East Talks Business. We're very happy to have you here today with us. Everybody thinks that the role of CEO is something mysterious. So if I can ask you first of all, what does it mean a day for the CEO? What do you do in your day?
Well, a lot of times it's just working with the folks that are working on those top line priorities in the organization, making sure that we have absolute clarity around what's most important, what are our priorities, programs, and initiatives. It's well communicated in the organization, and everyone is aligned with those priorities, those strategies, if you will. So I think a big part of what you're doing is you're trying to create clarity for the organization about what's important, how we're going to behave, interact, and act, whether that means internally from a cultural point of view, or externally with the market, our customers, our prospects, our partners. So that's what I spend most of my time on, is just clarifying what's important, making sure the structure and the skill sets and the resources support those strategic initiatives, and that we're executing against them. At the same time, we have to react to changes in market. And when there are changes, whether that's competitive or things going on in the macro environment, it's my job to make sure that that's being assessed and we're making the adjustments that we need to make to be successful as an organization.
Yes, you joined in July to Jaggaer, that's what I remember, and I think it's a big step for you. Why did you choose Jaggaer?
Well, I had reached that point in my career where I could make some choices. I could choose what really attracted me and got me passionate, and that's the main thing. You know, I see Jaggaer, or saw Jaggaer, as a highly relevant company in a highly relevant space. Like, we've learned nothing over the last several years. We've learned that supply chains are fragile and that big disruptions need to be accounted for. We need more resilient supply chains. So just understanding kind of the macro backdrop, looking at this company, what it did, its expertise, its footprint from a global perspective, it seemed to me this is a highly relevant company in a highly relevant space that that I could get passionate about, and that, you know, would keep me engaged. And that's really what I was looking for. And this was the perfect company for that.
And what is your aspirations with Jaggaer after you joined now over 6-7 months? How do you see it moving forward? Your main, let's say, I will not say KPIs, but let's say 2 goals.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we're doing is we're going through this massive transformation from whatever Jaggaer was before to one that truly puts the customer at the core of everything we do. Now, what that means is that what's really important is what the customer is trying to accomplish, what they're trying to achieve. Now, we're in the early stages of this transformation, but it does require a change in mindset, I think, across the organization. So fundamentally, I am working with the team, the organization, to lead the charge around how do we transform ourselves into a truly customer-centric organization, where first and foremost, it's what the clients are trying to achieve and accomplish.
Which is a very big goal, I think. What about the other goal from people perspective, from Jaggaer employees perspective? How do you see that as a goal for you? What do you want to achieve with these guys?
Yeah, well, you know, I think my job, if we go back to that, is to create an environment where motivated, career-minded people can thrive, where they can learn, grow, and develop in their careers. And in that way, enable people to improve their way of life. And so that's the type of environment we want to have, and the type of company we are building, where we can bring in really talented people who have a lot of motivation who want to advance in their career will come to Jaggaer, because we can create that kind of environment for folks. We have folks doing things that they never would be able to do at larger companies or in different companies, because we're giving our people an opportunity. Learn, grow, contribute, and advance in your career. Ultimately, as I say, Hany, is to enable people to improve their way of life.
So do you think, as we speak, how do you see the Jaggaer culture? Is that open culture? It needs some improvement. Do you think people are working very closely together? They are united, especially that you're covering the global markets, right? Which is US, Europe, Middle East, APAC. How can you connect all these people together? What connected them together?
Yeah. Well, you start out with a very difficult situation to build a collaborative environment, right? Mm-hmm. We're spread all over the world, as you say, different languages, different cultures, different religions. We are far flung all the way from Australia and Singapore to here in the US. And so you start with that challenge, right? Yeah. Now, how do you bring this organization together? Well, you have to break down the silos, number one, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's geo, whether it is a function like marketing, sales, or operations, we have to break down the silos. Now, every company has silos.
True.
But given that we're so far flung, we have to rally around kind of a single view of the organization, how we want to behave. So we talk about collaboration, hugely important in an organization where we have all of these differences. We talk about adaptability, which is let's just roll with the change and figure out what the organization needs to do to respond to that change and respond successfully. We have to be an adaptable organization given this rapidly changing environment that we're in. And then we talk about accountability, which is about being accountable to each other. Absolutely. If I told you, Hany, that I'm going to do something by a certain date at a certain quality, I'm going to do it.
And vice versa, for sure.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, so, what we're trying to do then is take this really diverse group of people from all over the world with all these differences and making sure that everybody understands what we're trying to achieve and that we're going to work together. And this is how we're going to do that, through collaboration, by being adaptable, and by being accountable to each other.
From your perspective, do you prefer the CEO sitting in his office or the CEO on the ground with the customers and the Jaggaer employees? Which one do you really prefer more?
Well, I think clearly you want to interact with people. You want to, whether it's the employees, your customers, your partners, or your prospects, I'm that type of person. I'm going to get more joy from that interaction than I am sitting in an office. It's particularly critical right now, though, right? Because I have my own learning curve. I didn't come in here with decades of experience. I'm coming in with a lot of experience in enterprise software in a totally new space for me. So the commitment I make is I'm going to climb this learning curve as quickly as possible. And the only way to do that is you're going to have to talk to folks. And you talk to your internal people, your experts, then you talk to the analysts and others who watch the space. You're talking to your customers and your partners. They're educating you on their situation, how they see Jaggaer, and what Jaggaer needs to do from here and such. That's how you learn. So I don't know any other way to do it. I can't sit there and read a book. I got to go talk to people, ask questions, no matter how stupid, so that I can climb the learning curve and be effective in this role.
Which is matching your first goal, which is a customer-centric organization or customer-focused organization, which makes a lot of sense. So let's shift to why we're here, right? So we're running the sales kickoff, okay, for the whole sales organization. If you advise Jaggaer salespeople across the globe, what's your main advice to them?
Well, what we're talking about is putting the customer at the center of everything, and what that means, or at the core of what we do. Well, what that means is sales has a role in that, right? And so our salespeople are trained to come to understand what the customer is trying to achieve, what they're trying to accomplish, what their problems are that they want to affect with our solution. And so really a salesperson at Jaggaer is someone who guides the customer through a decision-making process, a very efficient decision-making process. We have lots of resource, we have experts, we have information, we've been doing this for decades. And so what the salesperson doing is guiding the client or the prospect through a efficient process to make the best decision for them, while managing the resources that can be brought to bear during that decision-making process so that you're informed. That you know exactly what you can expect and how that's going to affect your business in a way that's important to you, so you can make the best possible decision. That's what we call sales at Jaggaer, is putting the customer first and saying, what are you trying to accomplish here? What are your problems? What are those things you're trying to achieve? And then let's make sure I can tell you best possible how my solution might help, might mitigate, might create that real value. And then we have to create value above what it costs to implement and to maintain our software.
Which is
so
awesome.
That's what we're asking our folks to do.
Which is awesome. And you think, for example, I always say that any salesperson, let's say account manager, whatever the name is he or she are the CEO of their own business. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, it does. Because that's how I treated it when I was in sales.
Exactly.
I had my territory, I had my accounts, I had all the prospects in my territory, and it was my business to run. So I absolutely see sales as being entrepreneurial, right?
Okay.
I've got this patch, and I've got to work it to produce results for my organization, produce results for myself and for my family. So I think that's the right way to think about it.
Excellent. So we're aligned on that part. Let's talk about growth. Okay, and I think one of the main things that definitely makes you awake sometimes is how to grow, right? How to go double digit, I don't know how many percentage, we don't want to cover that part specifically, but how do you see growth is happening in Jaggaer? Do you think that we're growing fast? Do you think economical situations and geopolitical are affecting that a little bit, or we are on the right track as a company? We have all what it takes to be growing year over year.
Well, so we are growing, and thank God, right? Because that's the best indication of health of the company. So we are growing. Our growth opportunities are significant, and they come in different flavors, different types. One would be to continue the geographic expansion. As you said, we're operating in different parts of the world. There are still parts of the world where we can continue to build, invest organically in growth.
Correct.
And we're doing that a lot in Asia right now for obvious reasons, because of the disruption of supply chains, how people are building resilient supply chains, and what that means in terms of how you put your assets, your manufacturing assets and other assets to work around the world to create the most resilient supply chain. So as a result, supply chains are shifting. It creates opportunities in Asia and other parts of the world because we're insourcing just as fast in the United States. And it creates a really target-rich kind of growth environment for all of us, because we are in a state of flux. We're in a state of change. So we can grow geographically. We can grow via new products and services, which we're doing as well. And we're growing because we just have good inertia in the business, and more companies are recognizing this is an area that should be part of your digital transformation, and Jaggaer might just be the best possible solution for what we're trying to accomplish.
That's amazing. I love that part as well. One final thing, 2024, we started already, we're almost end of January. What's your message to the salespeople in 2024?
Yeah. Well, we come into the year with a ton of momentum, right? The last half of 23 was spectacular. And I think for me, there's an analogy like chopping wood, right? Which is, you know what, just keep chopping wood, because you're on to something. You have momentum, you have success. We're continuing to advance our products and services. They're highly differentiated. Our sales team is highly motivated, coming off of a spectacular year, and I think it's just about, hey, we're going to continue to support from the CEO to any and every level inside this organization across all functions to support our sales effort. It is one of the most important things and indicators of our health. So I think it's like, keep chopping wood because you're doing great. And let's continue to support, add resources that are supportive of what we're trying to accomplish in each of these individual markets, which are all somewhat different, right? So I think that's it. I don't think there's any breakthrough. I think the breakthrough has happened. The macro environment, it might be a little bit better, but it's clear if you want resilient supply chains, if you're trying to go through a digital transformation of the office of the CFO, then you must consider Jaggaer software.
Are you accessible to everyone in the organization?
I'd like to think I am, yes. I'd like to think that I am, because frankly, you can learn from anybody, you know that, right?
Absolutely.
It's like you have a perspective, you're in a part of the organization, a part of the world where you're seeing something very, very specific. I want to hear about it. I just want people's perspectives. I don't make this stuff up on a whiteboard or on a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
It comes from many, many different perspectives from people in our organization, which you can only get by being available.
So, thank you so much for this discussion. I think it was very helpful. I'm sure everyone will enjoy this information and all your messages to the organization and to the community as well. And I think this will be one of the series that we'll take together moving forward through the year. And thanks again for being with us in eStock's Business today. I would say we aspire to be #1 in 2024 as Jaggaer.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andy, for being with us.
Well, thanks,
Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right.